edition of the Mark You Down for a Cup of Joe podcast. I'm Mark,
I'm Joe.
and today we're going to go through our weekly pick'ems in the NFL. We're just going to jump right into it, see who we think is going to win NFL Week 3, and just a little bit of housekeeping from last week, Week 2. Joe, what was your record?
You know, I went 10-6 last week, Mark, with all of my pick'ems.
Okay, and that's really kind of interesting because I went 10-6 as well, but we had a few differences. So it's basically we traded games, but we ended up with the same record. So we're both wild card teams. It looks like after week 2 of the pick'ems. So yeah, let's jump right into week 3 and see how we feel about these games. You ready, Joseph?
Oh, I'm always ready, Mark.
All right, perfect. Well, Joe, I'll let you start us off. Who do you have for the Thursday night game?
All right, so Thursday night we have an interdivision matchup between the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Mark, I'm going to be going with the Tennessee Titans in this matchup.
Because I have the Jacksonville Jaguars in this one. So, do you want to start us off as to why you have the Tennessee Titans?
Yes, I'd be happy to start us off. So last week they did not keep up the hot offense like I think some people were expecting them to do. I personally was not expecting them to put up another 50 points on offense. But I think there's a couple of things that are really going well for them so far. I think the good thing is that Derrick Henry has been playing really, really well for them so far in the first 2 games. He's looked really explosive. In the first game, he took a 75-yard screen pass to the house, and in this past game, he had a couple of other explosive plays. He looked really, really good. And I know some people give Marcus Mariota a little bit of crap, and I know he's not the best of quarterbacks, but I still think he's at least an average quarterback in the NFL right now. I still think with the weapons he has around him in Delaney Walker and Derrick Henry, that he can still go and shred this Jaguars defense, especially considering the fact that Jalen Ramsey may not even be there this Thursday. So I like the Titans this week. I think they're going to go in, they're going to play hard, and they're going to beat their interdivision rival.
Yeah, those are really good thoughts. And, this isn't necessarily the most comfortable pick I have to make this week with the Jaguars. But the reason why I think they're going to win this week is because, one, they're at home. I think that's a really big advantage when you're looking at similar teams. Number 2, they're 0-2. They're a very desperate team. This is a team with Super Bowl playoff hopes, all that. And they're going to, I think, come out with a lot of emotion and, rally behind that emotion amidst the losing and the whole Jalen Ramsey thing. And number 3, I really do believe in that Jacksonville front 7 regardless. I think that front 7 is going to make life difficult for Derrick Henry, really shut him down, really make him a non-factor in the game. And I think you're going to have Marcus Mariota be asked to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars on defense, and I don't think he's going to do it. That pass rush looked scary last week against the Houston Texans, and really held a very potent offense and a great quarterback, Deshaun Watson, to 13 points, I believe. So, yeah, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to get it done, and that Gardner Minshew kid, he's not playing bad football right now, so I'm going with them.
All right, we're just gonna have to see these 2 teams go duke it out.
Yeah, we'll have to see him duke it out for sure on Thursday night. Not the most exciting matchup in my mind, but we're going to move on to another exciting or not as exciting matchup in my mind, and the Cincinnati Bengals at the Buffalo Bills. And for this game, I have the Buffalo Bills at home. Joseph, what about you?
We're on the same page here, Mark. I too have the Buffalo Bills winning this game.
All right. I'm not going to get too cute with it. I just think that Bills defense is really good. It'll help contain Andy Dalton, John Ross, and Josh Allen's been making plays here and there. So I just think they're going to be hard to beat at home. And 2-0 start, a lot of emotion for these fans. I mean, they think they have a really good football team this year. It's going to be a crazy environment for sure.
Yeah, and I'm on the same lines there. I haven't been a fan of what I've seen from Cincinnati. They've been they've looked really, really bad these first 2 weeks. And we have a young Bills team coming in here. Like you said, they have a really good defense. Josh Allen's been playing good football. I know he hasn't been, putting up numbers like Lamar Jackson, but I think he's looked good so far. He's made some plays. He had a comeback win, and he looked good this past week. I think he's going to keep improving. So I think they're going to go in and I think they're going to go in and win at home against the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right, perfect. On the same page. Let's move on to this next game, Joseph. Dallas at Miami. Who do you have? Though I think I can guess.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to pick them boys.
Excuse me, one correction. It's Miami in Dallas.
Okay. We're going to pick that doesn't we're still picking the Dallas Cowboys on this one. And I don't know about you, Mark, but I think the choice here is just really, really quite simple. The Miami Dolphins do not look like an NFL football team right now. The way they played against the Patriots, the way they played against the Ravens, goodness gracious. It looks like they're on a World War II battlefield right now, riding along in one of those tanks. A tank on fire.
One of the Panzers.
Yeah, in one of the Panzers. A Panzer that is on fire, I might add. This is
some turf from the Tennessee field, probably.
Yeah, probably. Tennessee throwing some shots at the Miami Dolphins. But this is not a good football team right now. They are completely tanking no matter what they say. They're trading away players right now. The players want out of there. We got a hot Dallas Cowboys team coming in right now. Dak Prescott looks absolutely fantastic this year. He had a little bit of a slow start last week against the Redskins, but he finished really strong. Still had a high completion percentage. I think it was 75% upwards. He threw for 3 more touchdowns, and Ezekiel Elliott looked a lot better last weekend. I think they're just going to go and feast on this pathetic team we call the Miami Dolphins.
Man, that is some serious shots. Well, here's another serious shot. I definitely have the Dallas Cowboys here. There's really nothing to explain. I mean, if you follow anything about the NFL, you have the Dallas Cowboys in a landslide. I even think that, Dallas could start their backup. I don't even know who their backup quarterback is, and they're going to win by 30. So, Dallas Cowboys at home. Anyways, moving on to the next game. Denver at Green Bay. And I have Green Bay in this one. What about you, Joseph?
Woo! Go, Pat, go, baby.
We got to go, Pack, go this week for you.
I'm going to let you explain this one, Mark. We'll have an unbiased opinion. Give some thoughts.
All right, perfect. So, I don't know how unbiased this is because it is against Denver, so it's like no matter any way we slice it, it's biased. But when it comes down to it, Denver's not a good team. They just aren't. And Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. I like that Green Bay defense. Not necessarily that run defense, which might be a little bit of a struggle for Green Bay, but that Denver offensive line is so bad, I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue, and there's no way Flacco can keep up with Aaron Rodgers, even if it is only 25 points, I just think Denver is right for a loss here, especially in Lambeau. It's going to be a really hard place to play for them. Yeah,
I agree. And I may add, I know some people are concerned about the Green Bay offense, and to be fair, they did come to a crashing halt this past week against the Vikings after really that first quarter. But I think the good news is we got to look at those first 3 drives. Aaron Rodgers looked really good. The offense moved the ball, and they were going up against a really, really good defense in the Vikings. So we saw improvements in that offense, and I think they're going to still make improvements this week against the Broncos.
All right, perfect. So not too much to say there. We don't believe in Denver. Next game, Joseph, at Indianapolis. Who do you have?
I'm going to be going with Atlanta Falcons, Mark.
All right, me as well. I'm going Atlanta. Why are you going Atlanta for this one?
I think Atlanta right now, they came and had that comeback win against Philadelphia on Sunday Night Football. They got momentum going. I like Matt Ryan a lot more than I do Jacoby Brissett. I like Julio Jones. I like this Falcons offense a little bit more. I think they're more proven, and I think they're going to be able to go in and beat up on a quarterback and a team that's playing good football, but that I just don't think can keep up with Matt Ryan and the offense of the Atlanta Falcons. So my pick is the Falcons.
Yeah, my pick is the Falcons. I think they're a better team, and I do think there is something to Matt Ryan playing in a dome. Indianapolis isn't a dome. He does traditionally play better at domes, so it's just going to be a typical Matt Ryan dome day, and I don't think Indianapolis is going to have enough to combat that. So give me Atlanta on the road. But here might be the game of the week. The next one, Joseph, we got Baltimore at Kansas City. Joseph, who are you picking for this game? This is, I think, going to be a really good matchup.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this is going to be a quarterback shootout. And because of that, my pick is going to be the Baltimore Ravens. And I don't know who you're picking, Mark, but I think some people may be surprised that I picked the Ravens. Some people may think, oh, Patrick Mahomes, he's the greatest thing since, sliced bread. But Lamar Jackson is coming in, and he is playing good football right now. And I like that Baltimore Ravens defense a lot better than I do the Kansas City Chiefs defense. I think ultimately this game is just going to come down to who can stop the other team the most. And I like the Baltimore Ravens defense a lot better than the Chiefs defense. So I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think this could be a 35-33, 35-31, if not even more type of game. But it's going to go to the Baltimore Ravens. Who do you got, Mark?
I as well have. Sorry, what was that?
No, I jumped the gun a little bit there, but go ahead.
No, you're good. I as well have the Baltimore Ravens on the road. Going to be a very tough place to play, but last year when these two teams matched up, it was a very close game. I believe it was in Kansas City as well. And then the other thing about this game is that people aren't talking about, I don't think that Kansas City offensive line is very good. Watching them against the Raiders, there were some times where the Raiders were able to get a lot of pressure on Mahomes. Also, the one unspoken thing that no one's talking about is that Kansas City was not really able to do much outside of that second quarter. I mean, that second quarter was unbelievable. Patrick Mahomes threw 4 touchdowns and basically had a full game in that quarter. But then everywhere else, the defense stood up, and they were able to stop Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense. The other factor that really I think is the most important one is that offensive line is really not letting those running lanes happen. Last week against the Raiders, who don't necessarily have a great defense, they only average 1.4 yards per carry, I believe, running the football. And I think what Kansas City likes to do is they like to throw the deep ball so they can get the short stuff underneath, and that plays into the running game. I don't think they're going to have that against this Baltimore Ravens defense. So a lot tougher of a task. Without being able to run the ball, I think Baltimore is a little bit more complete of a team right now. So I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens on the road. So looks like we're both in agreement there. Should be a great game. But Joseph,
yes.
Let's move on. Let's move on to the next matchup, probably the most important matchup of the week. We've got my Oakland Raiders at your hated division rivals, Minnesota Vikings, almost similar to the Denver at Green Bay. But Joseph, I got my Oakland Raiders in this game. Who do you have?
As much as it pains me to say this, Mark, I had the Raiders as a hot potato this week, and unfortunately they got dumped into some ice cold water, and I gotta go with the Vikings. Maybe they got dumped into the Vikings, up in that wherever they live with all that snow up in Iceland. Maybe they got hit with the Viking snowball for all I know in preparation for this week.
All right. Well, explain a little bit more.
I hopped onto the Raiders hype train a little bit. I got really excited from what I saw in their defense and Derek Carr, and I still like some of the things that are going on in Oakland right now. I think their running back, Josh Jacobs, I think he's really good. Tyrell Williams looks really good. But I also think the Minnesota Vikings are a more complete team right now. And we saw the Oakland Raider passing attack get shut down by Kansas City, which does not have the best of defenses right now. So it has me a little bit concerned for them going up against a strong team, a strong defense in the Minnesota Vikings. So, Viking Stadium, it's a home game. Those fans get rowdy over there. I think the Vikings are going to take this one away from the Raiders. Unfortunately, Mark, I'm sorry to tell you. I won't be shouting Raiders this week.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You will be shouting Raiders. You want the Vikings to lose, even if you pick against the Raiders. So I can take solace in that. I think the Raiders are going to win. Let's address Derek Carr. He played horrible, but Derek Carr traditionally plays horrible against Kansas City. I mean, that is one of his demons he has failed to exercise in his career, and that's the way it's always been. So, I mean, like, as much as it sucks and as depressing as it is, I couldn't say I didn't see it coming. The second thing is they're getting their left guard, Richie Incognito, this week after his 2-game suspension. I think that's going to help Josh Jacobs open up a lot of holes in the running game and help them hold on to the ball a lot longer. And the other thing is I think that defense actually played pretty well outside of that second quarter. You can say what you want about how many points they let up and blah, 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 but like when it comes down to it, they held the Chiefs to 28 points, the most potent offense in the NFL. I think that actually you can take a little bit of solace there. Their defensive line got some push later in the game, and they're flying to the ball and tackling. They just got burned a few times, and they might get burned a couple times here, but nowhere near as much as they did against Kansas City. And I know it's going to be hard, but I think this team will rally and get the win. So we differ there. Let's move on to the next game. We've got the New York Jets at the good old New England Patriots. And Joseph, does it really ever get any easier for the Patriots? I mean,
go
come
ahead.
on. No, I mean, they played the Steelers, which is a good opponent, but they got them at home. And, they did what the Patriots do. And then they go on the road to play the dumpster fire that is the Miami Dolphins. Mm-hmm. And then they come back home to a Jets team that's down to Luke Falk, number 199, but it sure isn't Tom Brady, man. Like, Sam Darnold has mono. Trevor Siemian tore like some ligament. I mean, like, seriously, does it ever get easier for the Patriots? I'm going with the Patriots, no questions asked.
Yeah, I think you hit every point that I was going to cover. I think the New England Patriots are going to easily run away with this game. Even with Sam Darnold there, even with Trevor Siemian there, I still don't think the Jets would have stood a chance against the New England Patriots, especially after the addition to Antonio Brown. He just saw his first week one. He saw his first game action this past week against the Dolphins, and he looked sharp. He saw he saw a lot of Tom Brady's targets. So I think they're just going to come in here and shred the Jets. They're going to shoot this plane down at home.
Yeah. Well, there's a spicy take about shooting planes down, but you know what? These freedom fighters are gonna take down the enemy. I don't know, but let's move on at the risk of being too offensive to the next game. The Detroit Lions at the Philadelphia Eagles. Joe, who do you have in this matchup?
We are gonna take the Philadelphia Eagles in this one, Mark.
Okay, I got the Philadelphia Eagles as well, and the reason I have Philly is, well, Detroit's actually playing some really, really good football right now, but Philly has Carson Wentz, who I really like, and they're at home. I mean, sometimes these games, just when you have similar teams, it comes down to quarterback and home field advantage, and I think Philly has both right now, so I'm going with them.
Yeah, this team from the city of brotherly love is about to show these Lions what brotherly love actually means. I like the Philadelphia Eagles a lot more than I do the Detroit Lions. I think Carson Wentz is the better quarterback. Like you said, I think their defense is a lot better. I like the weapons they have a lot better. Nelson Aguilar, I know he had a couple of drops, but he still played. He still had a solid game against the Falcons. They have Zach Ertz there. They have
Deshaun Jackson.
Although he just went down with an injury, he's out for about 2 weeks, I think, with a little strain. But I still like their weapons on the outside a little bit more. So we're going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles at home.
All right, perfect. Next matchup, we've got the Carolina Panthers at the Arizona Cardinals. Joseph, who are you taking?
This may come across as a surprise, but I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals in this game.
That's not a surprise at all, my friend, because I as well have the Arizona Cardinals. Do
Oh,
you want to explain why? I know we're bird watching. Remember, we were bird watching last week? Well, this week these birds are going to take down these big cats. It's going to be a role reversal, something unexpected.
there we go. Unity on the pod.
Unity on the pod. That's perfect. But Joseph,
Um,
why do you have these Arizona Cardinals taking down the Carolina Panthers?
I don't think this is going to be so much that the Cardinals are that much better than the Carolina Panthers. Um, I think Cam Newton is just playing really, really bad football right now. And I think he's holding that team back right now from being as good as it could be right now. He may not even play this game. I know he has a little bit of an injury. And the Arizona Cardinals, they've been playing okay football. Kyler Murray hasn't been as bad as we thought he was going to start the season off. He's been able to make some throws. He's been able to start to adjust to NFL defenses, NFL speed. They still have David Johnson in the backfield, and I think that's going to help them win this game against the Carolina Panthers. And it is a home game. But I don't think this is going to be a very pretty game. I think this is going to be another one of those games we saw, another maybe like 16 to like 18 type of game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said about the Arizona Cardinals. The biggest thing to me is Cam Newton. It seems like his foot injury is kind of lingering, and I'm actually at this point on the pod. I'm just going to officially say it. I am extremely worried about Cam Newton and his future in the NFL. The guy's taken so many hits over the course of his career. He's taken the combination of running back hits as well as quarterback hits every year. It looks like his body's breaking down, man, and I really do think Carolina's got to prepare for life without Cam, maybe after this year. And when you got a team like that who's built around that quarterback, I know McCaffrey's awesome, but I don't think it's going to be enough. It's actually a really sad day, so I'm picking the Arizona Cardinals with a heavy heart. But anyways, Joseph, let's move on to the next matchup. We got the New York Giants at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and who do you have in this matchup?
I am going to be taking the New York Giants in this game.
And I'm taking Tampa Bay, so it looks like we have a little bit difference of opinions. So, Joseph, why are you taking the New York Football Giants?
I know they haven't played well these first two games, but I'm sure most of you have seen the announcement that Eli Manning is hitting the bench, and they're bringing in young gun Daniel Jones to start this week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we're going to see a new face back there behind center for the New York Giants. I thought he actually looked really good in the preseason. He looked like an NFL quarterback. I don't think his potential is high as some of his other draft mates, but I think right now he is one of those guys that you could plug and play and get some decent success out of him. They still have Saquon Barkley back in the backfield. I think they're going to use and rely on him a whole lot against this Tampa Bay defense. And I just don't trust Jameis Winston to play good enough football to beat this team.
Yeah, I could totally see that with the whole Daniel Jones and not trusting Jameis, but I think the thing comes down to this Tampa Bay defense. I don't think they played bad at all. I actually think they played really well. And they play a very suffocating style of defense where they're not going to let you really run the ball much, and the short passes aren't going to work because they have a lot of speed everywhere and they have a lot of big guys, and their pass rush isn't bad. So I think that's a tall task for Daniel Jones on the road in his first start. I have Tampa Bay just doing enough to win there. But a monkey wrench can get thrown in all this if Jameis Winston has one of Jameis Winston's patented 3-4 interception game and 1 or 2 go for a pick six. But I don't see that happening, and I think that defense is gonna lead Tampa to a win. So. Anyways, let's go to our next game. We've got the Houston Texans at the LA Chargers. And in this game, I have the Houston Texans.
We're on the same page here, Mark. I too have the Houston Texans.
All right. Why do you have Houston?
I think this is going to be. I think this could be a really good game, actually. We got two good quarterbacks here, Deshaun Watson and Phillip Rivers. but I like Houston just a little bit better. I think they have just as good of a defense. Deshaun Watson's been playing really good lately. Carlos Hyde has actually been playing fairly good football these past few weeks. I know he had another solid game this past week. They have DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller on the outside catching passes for him. And I think they're going to come in there and stomp the LA Chargers at home. Well, maybe not stomp. I think this will be a close game, but I think they're going to come in and play some solid football.
Yeah. I like Deshaun Watson a lot. Like a lot. I think he's an absolute stud. I see this game kind of being one of those 13-10, 16-13 kind of games. I think both of these defenses are really good. I mean, the Houston Texans defense isn't the greatest, but Phillip Rivers is pretty immobile, so they'll get some pressure on him. And that offensive line for Houston continues to be a problem, so the LA Chargers are going to hit home a lot of times. So, I don't really see the scoreboard getting lit up, but Houston Texans on the road. I like Deshaun Watson a little bit more. So, anyways, let's move on to our next game. We've got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the San Francisco 49ers. Joseph, who do you have?
The San Francisco 49ers are playing good football right now, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are not. So I have the San Francisco 49ers in this game.
Yeah, I have the Niners as well. They have a really good defense. Jimmy Garoppolo seems to have come alive. But most importantly, Big Ben's not going to be there. And I think that's pretty important. They have, Mason Rudolph, the rookie quarterback, coming in and going on the road against a really good pass rush. I just don't see that working, kind of similar to the Daniel Jones Tampa Bay thing. So I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers at home as well. So let's move on to the next matchup. We've got the New Orleans Saints at the Seattle Seahawks. I got the Seattle Seahawks.
Yep, I have the Seahawks too. And I think the biggest thing here is that we are going to be having a Drew Brees-less New Orleans Saints. And I think that's going to be the big thing that really prevents the Saints from winning in this game. Teddy Bridgewater didn't look good. Taysom Hill, will we see him this upcoming week? I think we'll see. It depends on, I think, who has the better week of practice. But I like Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. They've been playing really good football. I think they're going to come in and win at home.
Yeah, I think they're going to win at home. I do not see this being a blowout. I actually see this being a very close game. I have a sneaky suspicion that Taysom Hill is going to be the guy who comes in. They're not going to have film on him, really, and he's just going to run, amok a little bit. They still have a guy like Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, like really good weapons there. But Seahawks at home with Russell Wilson just comes down to that. It's pretty simple. So, all right, perfect. The next game, LA Rams at the Cleveland Browns. Who do you have, Joseph?
I have the Los Angeles Rams.
All right, me as well. I know this is going to be in Cleveland, but the LA Rams are an overall better football team, and I'm actually very concerned about Baker Mayfield. Like, I am actually really concerned. I think he's taken a step back from his rookie year. He doesn't look good. He's not really making that many plays, and he's kind of throwing picks a lot. I know he's this gunslinger guy, but not really making greatest decisions with the football, so that's going to be an obstacle for him. The Rams defense is really good, and Aaron Donald is just going to really test Baker Mayfield here. And then Jared Goff's actually playing some really good football, so I got the Rams.
Yeah, and I don't really have a lot to add there. I think Jared Goff and the Rams are just a better football team than the Browns. The Browns have not been living up to the hype that they have been. They haven't been living up to the hype coming into this season. So I think the Los Angeles Rams come away with this one.
All right, perfect. And now let's move on to I guess that was Sunday night. So Cleveland also, another note, 2 primetime games in a row, and it's a short week. So, the Monday night game, we've got the Chicago Bears at the Washington Redskins. I'll just go first with this one. Give me Chicago.
Oh, how dare you, my friend.
How dare me. You picked against my Raiders, so you know what? I can in good conscience pick the Bears.
Well, good sir, my beloved friend, I have picked the Washington Redskins.
All right. Why have you picked the Washington Redskins in this matchup at home?
I cannot in good conscience pick any team that plays in Chicago. that may or may resemble a large animal with the color fur of brown, if that makes sense. I don't know what I'm saying here. But we will not
You
mention.
can't pick the Bulls? Is this a Bulls-Celtics thing, too? Is that where we're going?
Yeah, we're going to throw a little spite on the Chicago Bulls there, too. You know, Michael Jordan and all those championship rings. Yeah. But in all reality, I don't know where I'm going with all of this. I don't know what I was saying there. I'm sorry to all of you listeners. I
I'm
I know
dying.
the Bears have a fantastic defense. I will admit that they do have a good defense, but Mitchell Trubisky looks absolutely awful against. He's just looked awful these first 2 weeks against the Packers and against the Broncos. And really watching that game against the Broncos, it really feels like the Broncos lost that game rather than the Bears won that game, if that makes sense. You know, the Broncos had 27 first downs this past week against the Bears. And the only other two teams that did that this past week, I believe, were the Patriots I forget the two teams, but they were two other teams that dropped 30 or 40 points. So the Broncos were able to move the ball. They just weren't able to execute it. And the Bears were not. So I have Washington coming in and winning. I don't think this is going to be a very good game. I just don't think Chicago is going to be able to win this one. I don't like Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, you and me both. I mean, I think we're probably the biggest Mitchell Trubisky haters there are, in the world in any podcast probably. But I do have the Chicago Bears because I feel like, I don't know why I have the suspicion that this is going to be the Khalil Mack game with Trent Williams being the way that he is, not wanting to play. They don't really have an answer at tackle. Khalil Mack might have 3.5, 4 sacks and just dominate. And I really don't see Washington moving the ball with Case Keenum. Darius Geis is out for some extended time with a knee injury. Is Adrian Peterson really going to be able to be the Adrian Peterson of old against the Bears again? I don't think so. Even though the Redskins are at home, give me the Chicago Bears in that vaunted defense. So, yeah, that's that. So do you want to run through these picks again? I'll go first with mine, just for all you listeners keeping track. So for me, Mark, I have the Jaguars, the Bills, the Cowboys, the Packers, the Falcons, the Ravens, the Raiders, the Patriots, the Eagles, the Cardinals, the Buccaneers, the Texans, the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Rams, and then the Bears. Joseph, who do you have?
I have the Tennessee Titans, the Buffalo Bills, the Dallas Cowboys, the Green Bay Packers, the Atlanta Falcons, the Baltimore Ravens, the Minnesota Vikings, the New England Patriots, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Arizona Cardinals, the New York Giants, the Houston Texans, the San Francisco 49ers, the Seattle Seahawks, the Los Angeles Rams, and the Washington Redskins.
All right, so if I'm doing this right, we have 4 differences. You have Tennessee, I have Jacksonville.
Yep.
What's it called?
I have Minnesota, you have Oakland.
Perfect. And then you have the Giants, I have Tampa Bay.
Yep.
And then I have Chicago, you have Washington.
Yep.
All right, perfect. Well, we will see how week 3 shakes out. This is why I love football, though, because a lot of crazy things do happen and teams you don't expect to win do win. And it's pretty common. So let's look forward to an exciting week 3 of football. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, let us know who you think's list is better, whose pick'ems are better, and let us know if we're overlooking something with any of these teams that we should be paying attention to. So, anyways, we are signing off. This is Mark.
This is Joe.
All right, and you guys have a good evening.